Good morning students. Today we are going to learn a lesson on Daffodils, a poem written by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth in this poem Daffodils has celebrated the beauty of nature and the bliss of solitude. For you to know, the poem Daffodils is also known by other name called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. Later on, the scholars decided that the title uh, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud appears to be having a reflection of solitude. So they decided that the daffodils would be a better topic or a title to be given to the poem. The poem begins with this line, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. The poet says that he wanders lonely as a cloud. Here he has used the word simile in order to compare himself and his movement to a cloud that are moving over vales and hills. When he sees a crowd, a group of golden daffodils besides the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing. Over here, the poet gives us a description of the golden daffodils, which are large in number, besides the lake. The daffodils appears for the poet to be dancing and happily enjoying the breeze. The second stanza starts with a description of how beautiful the daffodils looked. The poet has compared them with a group of stars. Let's see the lines as it is. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. The poet has compared the daffodils to the stars in the thousands of stars in the Milky Way. It looks as if the community of stars as they shine in the Milky Way, so are the daffodils. The daffodils appears to be stretched endlessly in a large amount along the margin of the bay. The lines, no, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of the bay. They are stretching, they are large in number and they hold a band sort of along the margin of the bay. The poet over here says that these beautiful flowers stood in a never-ending line. It appeared as if there is no end to these flowers, the group of daffodils, golden daffodils. It seems that the poet is under a sort of illusion. An image is created in the mind of the poet when he is watching these daffodils. He says, 10,000 saw I at a glance. The poet here has exaggerated and he has tried to use a literary device, hyperbole, to put an emphasis to the daffodils which are looking so large in number. He says that 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The daffodils in a large group appears to be dancing and enjoying in the breeze, in the wind. And these all creates a sort of memory and illusion in the mind of the poet. Now, moving on to the third stanza. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Let's first see the first two lines. The waves beside them danced. As the golden daffodils were, the waves also were dancing happily. A feeling of happiness was also experienced by the waves. The amount of sun rays which was falling on the daffodils made them dance too, and they were enjoying the sun's rays sparkling beautifully. But the beauty of 1,000 daffodils, the poet says that no one can be much happy and cheerful. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. For a poet, nothing can be so mesmerizing, so cheerful than the company of these beautiful golden daffodils. The poet says, I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth that show to me had brought. He says when he sees the beauty of those 1,000 daffodils that surpass the beauty of those sparkling waves. The beauty of daffodils were much more higher and much more mesmerizing than the sparkling waves. The poet feels that he could not be anything but happy. He has no other option rather than to be happy in such a joyful, happy company. The poet further says that all he could do was to go on staring, go on looking at those beautiful daffodils, and the sight before him was very surprising. It amazed him. It gave the poet a happiness. Further on, the poet also talks about his own feelings after seeing those golden daffodils. For oft, when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, the they flash upon the inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. The poet says very often when he is in sad and pensive mood and he sits to take rest, or when he sits in his couch in a thoughtful mood, he is just reminded of the host of beautiful golden daffodils which once he has seen. It provides a soothing effect, a calmness to him from within. That is, the flash of, they just come in a form of flash in his inward eyes. The complete happenings are in his mind, and it gives him a bliss of solitude. It's like a blessing in loneliness. And then all of a sudden his heart is full of pleasure, and he also starts dancing with the daffodils. As Wordsworth has his concept of poetry, that poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling. We can clearly see this from the poem Daffodils, that how spontaneous, how mesmerizing the daffodils were for Wordsworth, that later on in his pensive mood, or when he was vacant or sad, he is reminded of those beautiful golden daffodils. Uh, this poem also talks about the beauty of nature and man's connection with nature. How blissful it is to be with the natural beauty, and how this daffodils has an imperishable memory in Wordsworth's mind. Later on, this also talks about, uh, the poet has also talked about the experiences of his life in a form of poetry. Hope this explanation would help you to learn Daffodils, the poem written by William Wordsworth, in a much better way. Um, Thank you.